is that your overall manner of texting is really inefficient and really ineffective. Okay, so for example, when you are matching with girls or trying to match with girls that don't even know you exist yet, if you're spending 10 minutes looking at her profile and trying to come up with a message for every single girl, and then that message that you spent so much of your dear precious time on goes to a girl whose account isn't even active and will never see it, that was a waste of your time and that was incredibly foolish.
If you have more of an efficient strategy and you just get straight to the point, you don't feel like you've exhausted a bunch of energy. Therefore, your letdown won't nearly be as bad, right? You know, it's almost physics. Energy, too much energy spent is going to require a certain level of rest, right? And so that's an ego, that's an emotion, that's in everything else. So if I put all this energy and all this effort into this text, and I'm sending this message and I'm hoping it just knocks her socks off, and it doesn't, I'm gonna be let down a little bit. So be more efficient, be more to the point, but I wanna hear what else he has to say about this. Welcome back to Perspective and my second video under Unsolicited Opinions, where I'm reacting to 5 through 9 of the 13 most common online dating mistakes men make, as per the YouTuber / dating coach Todd V Dating. Be sure to give this video a like and get in the comments and share your perspectives and experiences with online dating apps. And I hope you learned something that can add value to your dating experience going forward. Without anything further, let's get into the second video.
Common mistake number 5, boring, lame, or unattractive bio. And again, on this one, you're probably saying, yes, Todd, I know the bio matters. Although some people actually dispute that. Some people think it's all the photos, which is not true. The bio does in fact matter a lot. But beyond just telling you vaguely that bio matters, I want to tell you specifically, do not be boring in your bio. You need to stand out. Most girls are swiping left a whole lot more than they're swiping right. So even if your bio is completely acceptable and completely dateable, but it just doesn't stand out and you're lost in the crowd, you will not get very many matches, if hardly any matches. So the criteria is this: if you were the only person on a dating app and the girl was the only person on a dating app and you matched with her, you probably would be able to get a date with her. But that's not reality. You're not competing with, do you hit the girl's threshold for dating only? You are competing with that, but you're mostly competing with the 100 other guys who hit that threshold who are trying to get seen in front of you. You need to stand out. Being boring, fitting in, being average doesn't cut it. The average guy in online dating gets almost no result. It would actually probably, for success, be better to stand out in a way that's not particularly attractive than it would be to be boring and fit in. Now, I don't recommend that either. You want to stand out in an attractive way, but the point I'm making is that standing out is absolutely critical. Being boring is a no-go. A good experiment you could do if you had the time and energy to do it would be either make a female profile or find one of your female friends and go on her profile and check out what other guys' bios look like. It's probable that a lot of the things that you think are brilliant and creative and interesting and good bios are on every single bio of every single guy in your entire city, and you think you're being cool and standing out and being attractive, and what you're doing is you're being blatantly average. You need to stand out. Pick interesting prompts, answer prompts in interesting ways. Answer prompts in ways that show unique personality, answer prompts in a way that is edgy. A good mental model is this: if you had 10 girls from online be like, he's kind of okay, you're probably getting 10 left swipes, right? Or you're 10 like, oh, he's average, he's like the typical guy on here. Whereas if you had a bio where 8 girls were like annoyed and offended by it, and 2 girls are like, oh my God, this guy is really interesting, really cool, that would actually on a practical level get you more results than that bio where it got more overall kind of appeal. Right? It's more about the number of girls that are in love with your bio rather than the number of girls that will tolerate or accept your bio. That's what you're really going for online. Now, quick asterisk with this, please don't be offensive in your bio. Please don't get black marks against you or get your bio banned. When I say stand out, I don't mean stand out by being rude or offensive. That's not a good idea.
So I like that he went more in depth in regards to the bios, because they definitely set you apart. A lot of times when a woman is reading a bio, she's looking for something to go off of. I mean, not that they're all going to initiate conversation, but if you have something in your bio that helps with conversation, you're winning. So it's a good idea. Like, I know I would look for something in a bio that gives me something to say to a woman that I'm going to initiate contact with. So you yourself can do the same thing. You want to have something in your bio that, whereas when you initiate contact, that she has something that she already read that draws her interest. You know, and just don't be lazy about it. And I 100% agree with his strategy. Go see what these other dudes are talking about. Go see what they're what's on their agenda, so to speak, you know, and then pay attention to what women have to say about their profile. Do some recon. But again, if you're lazy and you just want to go online and you want to get to these trauma bonding forums with a bunch of red pillars or incellers or black pillars or whoever the case may be, and just complain about everything, this ain't for you. We're talking about getting results over here.
I mentioned this in the bio, the fact that your main competition is not whether you're quote unquote good enough for the girl, it's whether you are out competing all the other guys that are technically also good enough for the girl. That applies in your bio because that's the first point of reference, and it applies the most in your bio probably because it is the first thing a girl's seeing and she's making some level of decision about you right then and there. However, most guys are boring and fit in throughout everything, especially in their texting conversation and their overall vibe of the interaction, also on the date. So this idea of standing out instead of fitting in applies to texting, it applies to the date as well. So this applies less the further you get down the road, but it does apply at every level. Think of it this way. Most girls swipe left more than they swipe right. Most girls do not give phone numbers or go on dates with the majority of their matches, and most girls do not sleep with the majority of guys they go on dates with. So at each point along the journey, fewer guys are succeeding than failing. You need to stand out to be in the number.
I know what he just said. Let me, I should have paused it a little faster. I know what he said runs counterintuitive to the whole manosphere, red pill, black pill, incel, doom and gloomers. I know y'all think every woman that's going out with a guy is smashing that guy. That's because y'all are not in the game. If you were in the game, you would know these things to be true. And it's not just because there's another guy sitting back that she's going home to smash, but in some cases that could be true. But his whole point is women are quite selective, actually. A lot of women are quite selective. And if you're not getting selected, that means it doesn't mean you're a non-select guy totally. It just means you haven't stood out. And again, in his overarching thing is it's not all about one thing. It's not all about you being the best looking guy. It's having the best overall presentation and keying in on these algorithms and all this other stuff and giving yourself the best opportunity to succeed.
Guys that's succeeding. Finally, if you do somehow manage to stand out enough in a positive way, you're gonna have an effect that's a little bit like a viral video, where it gets shown to more and more and more people. If your profile stands out in a positive way and girls are reacting positively and in a standout way to your profile, you're gonna get shown to tons of girls and your results are gonna be exponential. Just one more reason standing out helps. Common mistake number 7.
And that makes sense, right? Because of course, this whole thing is about keeping them online, right? So if you are being successful and you are getting matches, they hope that you stay there and continue to get matches and continue to have exchanges with women so the app itself can make more money via ad revenue, right? So it's your success helps the app. Why would it not work? It's built to work. Again, it's not built to get you off. These things are saying, well, the apps are built to get you off. These apps ain't built to get you off. They're built to get you on and keep you on. And being successful keeps you on. Unless you're being really honest. If you're really honestly looking to meet somebody for the sake of a relationship and you swipe right and y'all go on a date and y'all make a connection and you jump off the app, then hell, that works.
Game that is basically shooting yourself in the foot. Most guys text aimlessly for days or even weeks and never get to the point, never ask the girl out, and then eventually the interaction just peters out and goes dead. Other guys are trying to make plans right from the first text and the girl thinks they're super needy, super desperate, super pushy, gets turned off and gives them silence. Other guys are trying to be really sexual and end up the girls thinking they're very, very weird, whereas other guys are the opposite and they never get to the point, never bring up a man-to-woman topic, and end up with the girls, even though they met on a dating app, thinking, oh, this guy would make a good friend. So there's a huge variety of common texting mistakes, and it's probably, I mean, that can and will be a whole other huge video that I'll make about texting. But in the meantime, check out, I made an entire guide to online messaging. You can check it out at the link below and in the description, completely for free. Tons of information there on exactly how to text the right way. Common mistake number 8, bad texting habits. And this is distinct from sending bad text. What I mean here is that your overall manner of texting is really inefficient and really ineffective, okay? So for example, when you are matching with girls or trying to match with girls that don't even know you exist yet, if you're spending 10 minutes looking at her profile and trying to come up with a message for every single girl, and then that message that you spent so much of your dear precious time on goes to a girl whose account isn't even active and will never see it, that was a waste of your time and that was incredibly foolish. So what you need is an efficient strategy. You need a way to come up with good texts, maybe not the perfect text, but to come up with good texts consistently, reliably, and quickly without it taking up your whole day. So
let me add something to that. Sending a whole Bible verse to a woman that you match with that you find to be ideal. Okay, so maybe she looks the way you want the woman to look, and maybe she also write something in her bio, and you're like, man, if I match with this one, I can go ahead and get off the app. You know, it's almost like dating in the real world in the way that you don't overdo it to the point where you can be let down, right? Because if you have more of an efficient strategy and you just get straight to the point, you don't feel like you've exhausted a bunch of energy. Therefore, your letdown won't nearly be as bad, right? You know, it's almost physics. Energy, too much energy spent is going to require a certain level of rest, right? And so that's an ego, that's an emotion, that's in everything else. So if I put all this energy and all this effort into this text and I'm sending this message and I'm hoping it just knocks her socks off and it doesn't, I'm gonna be let down a little bit. So be more efficient, be more to the point, but I want to hear what else he has to say about this.
In online game, you are working volume to a certain extent. There's a certain amount of girls who you're gonna match with, a certain amount of girls you're gonna get dates with, a certain amount of girls you'll get into relationships with. And there's a certain amount of girls at the very top of that funnel that will never ever see your profile even if you like them. So you wanna be very, very efficient about this. The first few messages typically should not take you a long time. There should be a general format to them. You want to oftentimes notice something about the girl's profile, have a general format for how to take that information, put it into a message, send the message off, and you want that off within 30 seconds, a minute at most. You don't want to be spending tons and tons of time.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. This is why I would only swipe right on women that actually wrote something in their profile. Because I have some, listen, I was never finna just swipe right on a profile and say, oh, you look good. Duh. I mean, if I swipe right on a dating app where the focus is pictures, obviously I find them attractive. Not saying that giving compliments is a bad thing and not saying that you shouldn't. I'm just saying leading in with that, that's what everybody does. But and you can't, that's all you can do when the only thing they did is have pictures posted, right? But if they got a bio, you read something from that bio, and if you can grab something from that bio, if she said something substantive and you can respond to that, you can elaborate further on something she said, man, it goes a long way. And trust me, women do care that your ass actually read what they wrote. They care about the effort that you put in because of the effort they put in.
Tons of time on girls you've never met, right? You need to be efficient about your texting strategy. On the other hand, once you've been texting with a girl quite a bit and it's time to set up a date with her, maybe that message is worth investing a little more on because that girl's actually bought in. So you want to be smart about this, but in general, most guys are spending way, way, way too long on their messaging and they're being incredibly inefficient. So they're spending, 10 or 20 minutes messaging one girl that may never see it. And in doing that, they've missed out on messaging 10 other girls who would have seen it and would have liked them. That's not a very good strategy. Common mistake number 9, trying to do it for free, i.e. not spending any money on the apps. Again, remember the algorithm. What does the app exist for? It exists for keeping people there and making money from the people that are there. So if the app has a choice between making one customer happy that spends money and another customer that doesn't spend money, which one do you think it's going to favor? Who do you think the app likes more? And the app has an incentive, or technically the owners of the app have an incentive to make it so that people want to stay on and spend money. So if you're spending money, they have an incentive to keep you happy. That's the way the app works. So it makes sense.
Listen, I know there's a whole bunch of dudes that are just gonna fight this. To me, this means you just lack total experience in the arena of dating altogether. And I'm not trying to be funny and I'm not trying to be judgy. I'm just being honest. You have to lack a tremendous amount of experience not to understand the way this works. When you're going to a club, if the cover charge for everybody is $20, stand in this long line that's wrapping around the building. And the women are already on the inside, and you see they're letting women in ahead. You know, they're letting women in for cheaper, if not free in some cases, right? Don't you find it a little bit more strategic to say, you know, instead of spending this 20, I'm going to spend 40 for VIP. I'm going to hurry up and get ahead of all these other guys that's in the line. Excuse me. I'm going to jump the line. I'm going to get in there. Now, I'm not saying go as far as to get a section in the club, but that again sets you apart from the crowd if you do that. But I'm not saying that. I'm saying jump the line if possible. Here's the line. You just want to just jump the line. And then you get treated differently. You know, you pay VIP, you pay $40 to get in some club, and they hand you a drink automatically. You know, you don't gotta, so just consider it. Consider the incentives that come with spending money. That's just the way it works in everything. This just ain't dating. This is just life in general. When you're willing to spend a little bit more money, you're usually gonna get better results.
In many cases, I would say probably most cases, to think about being a member, gold or platinum or whatever, on the app. It also makes sense in many cases to buy a rose or a super like or something like that in order to be seen by a girl that would otherwise not see you. Now, obviously, you should not be just...
That absolutely does work. It absolutely does work. I've used it in the past and it yielded positive results. Again, it's skipping you to the line. It's been a while, but I know on some of the apps, you know, you automatically get a few of the super likes or stars or whatever there is that's on there nowadays, right? But I know when you pay, you get more. You get like double or triple what the average. And then I think one feature you can swipe back, or it's other little features that you get. But the star, again, the star notifies them that some guy liked them. Why would you? Especially if it's, now you don't hit stars on everybody, right? You're extra selective with your stars. But if you really see somebody that you're like, oh man, I would like to get her attention real quick, shoot a goddamn star, bro. Come on, man.
Spending money blindly. You need to test each thing. Try it and see if it works. But understand that if used correctly, most of the ways you can spend money are effective. That's why they exist. If they weren't effective, people would stop using them. They would no longer be a feature of the app. All right, so don't just spend money blindly. As with everything, you need to test, you need to iterate, you need to see if it's actually working for you. But don't come in with this mentality that you're going to succeed for free, whereas other people are spending money.
And that's all I have for this segment of Unsolicited Opinions. Be sure to catch my next video where I react to 10 through 13 of the 13 common online dating mistakes men make. If you like this video, hit that like button, and as always, do subscribe. Until next time,